welcome back to my channel and another Vlogmas episode. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to follow me over on Instagram because I do post quite frequently over there, and most of the time you guys will know what's going on before I upload it onto YouTube. And for this particular Vlogmas episode, about a week or so ago on my Instagram page, I had posted a story asking what flight attendant related questions you guys had, or if there were any flight attendant lingo questions you had, certain words, this and that. So I've compiled a few of those and I'm going to answer them for you guys today. As always, if you have any other questions or if there's anything else that you want to know, drop it in the comments so I can make another video explaining the deets on whatever your question may be. But for now, I have about 10 or 11 different questions, lingo words that I'm going to explain for you guys. So the first question is, do I need to have visas for all the countries my airline flies to? I will say I'm going to be speaking mainly for US carriers, United States airline carriers, because I don't know what it's like in other countries. And for my airline specifically, the answer is no. You do not need to have visas for all of the countries that your airline flies to before training. With that being said, because of COVID, we do not fly to China out of Chicago anymore. Supposedly that's going to be coming back at some point. I'm really not sure the details about that, but once we do, I will have to get a visa for China, yes. However, the company helps you in that process and they do reimburse you for getting that visa. That's really the only country that I know that we have to have visas for. Any of the other countries like Japan, anything in Europe, Australia, we don't need to get visas. The next question was, do I use packing cubes and how do I organize them? I don't really use packing cubes. I have tried using packing cubes, but the ones that I have, I don't really like because they were really flimsy. So I haven't really used packing cubes consistently enough to really give a good thought out answer to this question. Unfortunately, I usually try to use the larger side of my suitcase to roll my items, and then I put my toiletries and shoes in the other side, the part that zips up. And if you have more questions about that, there is actually a video that I filmed about packing and I will link it up above so you guys can check that one out if you do have questions about that. So how do I like it and what are the benefits? This is probably one of the top questions that I get, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm going to say that it is not for everyone because it's not just a job. It's not just a career. It is an entire lifestyle. Your job of being a flight attendant does become your entire life. Okay, so it's not your regular 9-to-5 office job. It's not like that. You have to sacrifice a lot. You have to dedicate a lot of time into the whole process, especially starting out. It is rough the first couple of years because you are not making a ton of money. You do have the option to make more money by picking up trips and things like that, but that's not always as easy as it might seem. I will say I made really good money during the summer in my first year, but now during winter time, because it is a lot slower and I'm really not flying a lot, my paychecks have been cut literally in half. So that is something to take into account. Make sure you have something saved up. I've said this before, make sure you have something saved up before you start applying because that is going to help you tremendously. Now, with that being said, the benefits, of course, are probably one of the main reasons why we do this job, right? To travel. The travel benefits are amazing. You can fly anywhere in the world for a fraction of the cost. While yes, we do get to fly essentially for free within the United States, all standby travel, so it's not confirmed ticketing, so we do have to wait to see if there is an open seat on the aircraft. And if we fly internationally, then we just have to pay the taxes on that ticket. So it's, I mean, when you really think about it, it's a no-brainer. Like how I could, for example, I wish I had my phone handy, but I would pull something up for you guys. Just off the top of my head, I know I've looked up non-revving or flying standby out to, you know, Europe before, and it's usually like $200 or something like that. Even for Polaris, which are the lie flat seats, it's only maybe, you know, 200 round trip or something like that, which is insane. And you can payroll deduct it, so it doesn't come out of your pocket right then and there when you book it. It'll come out of, you know, your next paycheck after you take the trip. So travel benefits are amazing, and the fact that I do get to share them with, you know, my spouse, my family, is absolutely amazing. Some of the other benefits to healthcare is pretty decent also, and just, I love flying. Like, I love being above the clouds, especially during golden hour, sunrise, sunset. It's just so beautiful, and you do not get those views anywhere else. With all of that also being said, one of the great benefits too is being able to just meet other people from other backgrounds and learn about them a little bit. I mean, I was deadheading on a flight, I don't remember where, I think I was going to Newark or something like that, and I had a couple that was sitting next to me, and I heard them talking, and they had such thick accents, and I asked them if they were Italian because my family background is Italian, and they reminded me so much of my grandparents, and they said no, they were Greek. And so they were telling me how they were about flying, I'm pretty sure it was Newark, because they were flying to Greece, and excuse me, and I was just talking to them, and it was just really cool to be able to learn about other people and their backgrounds and really connecting each other in that way. And it's, I love it. I don't know what else to say on that. So some lingo terminology questions now that I have seen. When we use the word PAX, if you see that term, it just means passengers. That's all that means. It's just a shortened abbreviation for passengers. Now, if you hear someone say pairing, like, oh, my pairing has this, or what's your pairing number, or I just got a pairing, that's just your trip. So it's another word for your trip. It's just your pairing number basically tells you what kind of trip it is, sort of, if it's been adjusted in any way, kind of what position you can be. There's a couple different things that you might be able to tell from your pairing number, but that is just like an identification number for your trip, essentially. When you hear a flight attendant say, oh, I have 3 legs today, or how many legs did you do today? That's just flights. So if I have 3 legs that I'm working tomorrow, I have 3 flights that I'm working. That's just a term that we use in lieu of flights. I was working a flight a few weeks ago. I was up front. I believe I was purser, and I had a customer or passenger actually ask me what cross-check meant, because I had just made the announcement, you know, flight attendants, arm doors, your disarm doors, cross-check, standby for all call. And he was like, what does all of that mean? So it really just means I'm letting my flight attendants know that the door, if we're about to leave and I say arm doors, the door has been closed, okay? The main cabin door has been closed. All of the flight attendants need to arm their doors now, which means that they are initiating the slide. So if the door was to be opened, it is now going to be opened in emergency mode, and the slide would deploy once the doors are armed. Cross-check means that I've checked my door and I've checked the other flight attendant's door. If there's another flight attendant there with me that's responsible for that door. There are times where one flight attendant will be responsible for 2 doors. So you're just cross-checking yourself. I'm checking my door is armed. I'm going to the other door. I'm cross-checking that that door is also armed or disarmed, depending on if you have just arrived or what. So another 2 terms, I'm going to kind of put these together, are reserve and line holder. When you start as a flight attendant, most of the time you are going to start on reserve. There are some airlines that you do start off as a line holder, like Delta, you are a line holder, but you have 6 A days, they call them, throughout the month, which are 6 days that you are on reserve. And reserve basically just means on call, essentially. So we have 24-hour reserve periods. So I am on call from midnight until midnight the next day, right? So that's really all that means. When you're a line holder, your entire schedule for the month is already planned out for you. You know what trips you're working, you know where you're going, you know what you're doing. When you're on reserve, you don't know any of that. You are pretty much at the mercy of scheduling. And some people like that, some people don't. Personally, I don't really mind it, but to each their own. So that's all that those two words mean. So I had mentioned this word actually earlier when I said deadhead or DH. That just means that the company is basically transporting us from one location to another to work a flight. So we are on duty, but we're not actually working that flight. So for example, when I said I was deadheading to Newark, I was riding as a passenger to get to Newark so I could work a flight out of Newark. That's all that deadheading means. So I am still getting paid for being on duty, but I'm not actually working that flight. And that's all that I have for now, you guys. If you have any other questions, if there's anything else that you want to know, definitely drop them in the comments, because I do not mind making videos like this where I'm just answering questions for you guys. I did do some videos a few months back about stuff like this, so I will also try to link those. But thanks again for being here. I will catch you guys on the next Vlogmas episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, say hi, and I'll see you guys later.